My guys are underneath the aircraft, standing on a fuel blivet. You have a pole, like a giant Q-tip. This helicopter has to come in and hover over my guys who are standing on a round object. It's an adrenaline rush, like standing on that thing. You got guys holding your legs, you're standing on it, trying to hook up, watching this aircraft. It's really cool. It's really invigorating. Freaked me out because you started to see his rotor dip. Thought I lost 3 of my guys in a training exercise, which had me just all freaked out. And you're helpless watching it.
Okay, so before we talk about the fact that you're a top 2% real estate guy in North Fort Worth, I want your best "so there I was" Army story.
I got a couple of good ones, but this one's interesting. So there I was. This would be probably in the realm of 2014, maybe 2015. I changed. This was a wild change in my career. I went from combat arms to logistics and how completely different that is in the Army. So I had a lot of air qualifications, so logistically that was appealing to them, and I had a really gung-ho commander. He's like, hey, you can sling stuff, you can deliver it by air, like throw it out of aircraft, like let's do it. I was like, all right, let's do it. So I'm the only one qualified to do these things. Well, we slowly, start like a mini air assault and kind of Pathfinder Sling-Load kind of training setup to get all these guys qualified to do stuff. So I'm the guy on the ground watching a Sling-Load happen. My guys are underneath the aircraft, standing on a fuel blivet, which is a round object that it's not completely round, but very hard to stand on. And if you've ever seen that, you have basically it looks like a pole with two, like a giant Q-tip is what it looks like. And one end connects to the load and the other end connects to the little hook on the helicopter. And we have Black Hawks, and we decided to do this at night. This is kind of a culminating event for us, which is challenging to do in the daytime, much less night. And so this helicopter has to come in and hover over my guys who are standing on a round object with the downdraft, like trying to put this Q-tip up to, and then the crew chief is looking down through the hole, like trying to talk it out. I'm listening to him on the radio, and then I slowly see this guy like start dragging, and then it was an optical illusion. Like, I don't think it was that close, but it freaked me out because you started to see his rotor dip a little bit, and he pulled forward, and it just looks like that tail rotor is like going right after my guys. Then he like slowly brings it back up, settles, hook on, they roll out. But I was like, I've been to Afghanistan, nothing that crazy there. And then like I could just thought I lost 3 of my guys in a training exercise, which had me just all freaked out, but turned out really cool. I have some insane pictures, but like I could not believe, and you're helpless watching it. It's just wild.
What about the guys? Were they feeling the same way?
They, I don't think they felt that it was that close. It's still like very much, I've been there. It's an adrenaline rush, like standing on that thing. You got guys holding your legs, you're standing on it, trying to hook up, like watching this aircraft. It's really cool. It's really invigorating. I don't think it was that close. To just optically from 100 meters, I was like, wow, that's close.
Wow. All right, I got one. So there I was in Bangladesh. I was on a Navy dive and salvage ship. It was an exercise. We were giving our best education to Bangladeshi divers. And these were divers that dive and salvage divers, right? So they would go down and look for stuff and do things under the water. If you've ever seen a diving operation, it's amazing. You have about 20, 30 people. Everybody's got a job. Everything's super important. Safety is number one. And then you got 2 guys going down on this system. It's a structure. They're holding on to these bars. And they've got the giant masks, or the giant helmet on that's airtight with the umbilical cords and everything. And everybody was up against the edge of the ship, and I couldn't get a shot. And that's what I was there for. I was just there to capture the moment and video. Backing up, my commander, super stickler for the rules, loved following the rules. I noticed over the side of the ship, there was a ladder, like rungs that were recessed into the side of the ship. And I looked at the chief and I said, hey, do you think can I hang on to the ladder so I can get a shot of those guys? And he looked at me and he goes, can you swim? And I'm like, you bet I can. And so I got the greatest shot. I was like hanging on to the rung. I put my camera on auto and I was getting way out here, getting these really cool shots. The water's dripping off these guys. And then I brought these shots back to my commander and he's looking at them. He just says, Miller, these are awesome. How did you shoot these? And I was stuttering for a minute. And then he goes, oh, you were on a rib, another boat right next to it. Yes, sir, I was.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's right.
So, it's a great shot, though. It's a great shot.
Okay, so I do have, this one's kind of interesting because it could have gotten us in a little bit. Okay, so this is a training exercise. So there I was, Guatemala, 2015 probably.
Nice.
So Guatemala 2015, we're trying to stop the cartels from running all the way up from Colombia.
Wow.
So what we've done is we've purchased armored Jeeps with turrets and Harris radios and field them to the Guatemalan army. So at that time, they needed to know how to maintain them. They needed to know how to operate them. So we go in there as drivers, trainers.
Wow.
For people that have never driven a vehicle in their life, even in the military. And then we taught them how to drive armored Jeeps, not tip them over, and, kind of not quite shoot, at least move and communicate and not kill each other without shooting bullets.
Wow.
But anyway, so we are at a point where we started like with cones and like you're going to slow park like these guys are 15 kind of treatment to very quickly like we're driving on the road tactically.
Wow.
Well, we're like, all right, this base, like we're kind of getting same scenario. We can't really change it up. So we're like, let's go out on the road. So we go out on the road. We weren't out there for like 5 minutes and we get calls from civilians calling the colonel of the army base being like, why do you have equipped vehicles running tactically in the town that's right outside? So I was like, well, yeah, I guess we can't do that. And my lieutenant calls me. He's like, dude, we can't do that. I'm like, Roger, sir. So I'm the lead training guy and we pulled it back in, but it was just funny. Like, we're over there very much a peace mission, nearly creating international incidents.
All right. So let's get back. Before we talk about the American dream, which is pretty cool, let's back up and go like before real estate. How do you think the military, what was it in you that made you want to join the Army Reserve?
So, I mean, truly, it was a pathway to college. It came from, a great family, but the path to college was definitely going to be a self-funding route. So that, to me, looked like a way to actually be able to do that. And then I really kind of fell in love with it and wanted to do more and, got into the active guard reserve, AGR full-time and deployments and stuff like that.
So how long were you active then?
That'd be, so out of 21 years, 11 are active.
Wow, that is a lot. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
So then how did you make the transition to get into, what did you do before you got into real estate?
So I was a banker. And a banker at an odd time during the financial crisis. So I kind of like watched it all unfold and we watched people walk away from houses and like, some really hard times. And we saw an opportunity to, get into that a little bit.
Wow.
So that like basic investing started way back then. And then I realized that like I had some encouragements for some other really good friends. Like, hey, I think you'd be good at this. A guy is the number one agent in his area for years. He's like, you should get into this, kind of, leading me to the trough, so to speak.
Very cool.
That's how we rolled into it.
You got into real estate after you were out while you were in the reserve, right?
Yeah, well, that was my transition point out of active duty, essentially, was to, I've got to make a living doing this, which was like wildly risky, but I'm definitely a risk taker at times. Like, I left a good paying job that was guaranteed, like, I got paid to be like I was yoked, like, in great health, that, and then just, I'm going to go and do all this crazy stuff, start a business. And
Cool. So a lot of people talk about making a service to civilian transition. You actually didn't do that. So what was the hardest part about balancing? Because, I've been in the reserve for a very long time. It's like another part-time job, sometimes full-time job. So what was your secret to balancing that?
well, so that's always been a challenge, but so from my perspective, my entire adult life has only been 3 weekends a month forever. I enlisted when I was 17, and that's just how it is. Like, there's really only 3 weekends. Your summer's cut short. That's just how it is. But then if you're on the active side, then you're doing all the logistics to make those weekend events happen. And then you're bought that weekend and probably the weekend before. So now you're down to 2 weekends a month. So really, it was more of my wife understanding that, which did parlay well into real estate, because the first 3 years are very challenging.
Sure.
So, that worked out. She's just like a blessing, allowing me to do these things, because I'm a very driven person. So,
Right.
I'm gone a lot.
Very
So
cool.
that's
Very
really
cool.
what makes it work.
Very cool. For me, it all changed in, I think, 2012, when I discovered that as an entrepreneur, I had extra time at times, but I discovered through the Navy there were exercises happening all over the world all the time, and where I could go out for a week and come back, and that was great for both. It was great for my wife and family to get rid of me for a week, and then when I came back, I transitioned back into that. But I kind of feel strongly that there's no happy balance. I think life is a continual up and down struggle.
Oh yeah. Constantly.
And the more you deal with that, the better you get.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yep. That's it. No, that was so my retirement, like after retiring 21 years. So then I'm 40, almost 40. And then I finally figure out that there's 4 weekends in a month. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's been like very enlightening. Although, heavy traction in real estate on the weekends, but at least there's 4 weekends. So.
Okay, let's transition into real estate. What is so cool about North Fort Worth with respect to real estate that you don't see in other areas?
So I think the growth trajectory is huge. So to put it in perspective, there's only 2 places where Hillwood is a Ross Pro owned company, major developer. There's only 2 places that they're actively in, and they have 4 master plans in each place. And one of them here is North Fort Worth, and the other is Salina Prosper area, like these giant master plan that they put huge money in, that thousands of homes, developing these amazing commercial in like real, like small cities that are connected. That I think is what's interesting, because the land's going to get developed. This Metroplex is growing and it's going to happen. There's nothing we can do about that, but where the money has taken interest specifically is Alliance, North Texas, North Fort Worth. And that's what's interesting to me, is that Alliance deal. If that didn't happen, I mean, nobody's tracking. It's the 3rd largest cargo airport in the U.S.
Wow. Did not know that.
If I go out, I'm in Rome. If I go and look to the north, I can see lights as far as I can see, which are airplanes, Amazon, FedEx coming in at night constantly. Luckily, they're high enough I can't hear them, but that's what's happening.
How does that affect you as a realtor? I know it's kind of an obvious question, but kind of give me a little bit of depth.
Well, so, I mean, obviously, I'm an abundance guy. So I'm always like, I don't really compete with real estate agents. I've said this for a long time. Like even agents that are, that are on my team, like we don't really compete. We have different spheres. We have different people we're associated with. We do run in similar circles, but like there's always going to be more. I shouldn't say that. Generally speaking, in this growth, you're going to see more annual, even if there's more agents. So I don't care about the competition so much.
Right.
It's like what skills can I hone? I think the opportunity is great. And what I like to see is like how things develop. Like I'm invested in commercial real estate, like the big picture on how things actually play out. If you look at cities that were developed like Frisco versus cities developed like Hazlitt and like how different that is and how that looks in the future, like I'm very interested in that. Like just the development itself, like
Sure.
why it's attractive, what makes it attractive, what you can do with it. Like I'm a big picture guy. I like that stuff.
So what I'm seeing in the last 5 to 10 years, many people are looking for land with a home. And I notice that's one of your specialties. What's the one thing they need to know before going on that search?
So number one, maintaining land or like more of it is definitely different than a small yard to manage. Like cost of doing it and time to do it is way different. But I'm a country guy, I love that stuff. I think it's cool, but it takes more time. And the other part is like get you that piece of dirt sooner than later because, I moved 10 years ago to a place where dirt was $20K an acre, and now I can buy, a 1 acre tract would run about 100. So like,
Right.
in a metroplex that's growing incredibly quickly, like you need to go and grab that quick, because if you look at the line, like Rome, Hazlitt, Keller, you can go from 100 an acre to 500, 600, 700 an acre, like in a 30-minute drive. Wow, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
So if you want to get there, you need to get it. And then there's so many other things. You need an agent that knows land. I talk about that a lot because it's like, where are the utilities? What can you do? How is land cut up? Why would you cut it in this size? Well, you need a well and a septic, and in this county, you need this. Like there's, it's all managed different counties, and Denton's different than Wise, different than Tarrant.
We bought this property about 26 years ago, and we had no idea what we were doing. We had a horse and we boarded him somewhere. So our goal was to have the horse with us.
Yeah.
And I found a builder, found the property, and I wanted a small home. And the builder calls me up and says, Tim, we need water. And I just said, okay, no problem. Go ahead and get it. I don't, just whatever it costs. I don't think you understand the question.
Yeah.
You need a well. And at that time, we had taken everything and put it into this new home. And so I can't remember exactly how much it was. Very cheap, according to today's prices. I think it was like $6 a foot. Oh. And they had to go down 600 feet. And so
that'd be a $30,000 well today.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was probably
25, maybe.
Yeah, it was
go
a lot
600 feet. Yeah.
It was a lot of dough. And but just all kinds of things, how to make a barbed wire fence, how to deal with just all the stuff,
and how to fix a fence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they will break.
Absolutely.
If you have an animal, it's gonna break.
Absolutely. And speaking about animals, you have all that to deal with, and so if you have dogs, anyways.
Oh yeah, no, that's I think that's funny. I grew up with a lot of that to me is a little bit assumed. So I have to sometimes like go back, and think like, okay, you've never done this. You want to venture into this. So we're going to go back to very basics.
Right.
So that's a different conversation usually when it's somebody doing it the first time.
So as a contrast to that, what I'm seeing a lot of millennials and even the younger generations, they don't want a home at all. They just want to find a place to rent. And which, in the back of my mind, I've always thought, why wouldn't you want that investment? But it, from my understanding, comes back to peace of mind and what you really want out of life.
Yeah, and I can also make a pretty strong argument. Like, I actually know a guy who used to employ my father, who lives in an apartment and like makes an incredible amount of money, owns hundreds of units, but it's for him, it's a cash flow thing, and he doesn't want time. He wants he doesn't want time to maintenance, none of that. Like, I will live here and occupy this at a set rate, and that cash flow isn't infringed on by ownership of breaking things and things like that. So he knows it's going to cost this much to live. So I think that's interesting. I think a home can be a great investment with gaining the equity, but when you spend $1 million to do it and have debt service that's at large, then you're infringing on your own cash flow. So then is it really an investment because it's your debt service? Where normally, an investment, like I'm getting income that covers the debt service.
Right.
So with our own property, we don't have that. So I think you have to be careful. Nothing wrong with building $1 million house. There's really not. But the fact is what your financial picture is and your ability, to afford that debt service and what it does. Like, I could probably afford twice the debt service today, but why would I want to? Then I can't take that and do something with it. And what does that really get me? So those I think are actually some of the choices millennials and such are now realizing and making. Like, maybe I don't want a 4,000-foot house because it traps me in it. Maybe I want 1,500 feet that I can rent and then I can go and travel with my leisure time. So I think, I don't know. I think the younger generation's just getting a lot of smarter in the variations that you can live life, where I think maybe my generation or before was it's this way.
Right.
And it's not. But I also think technology affords all those things, like remote work. Sure. There's so much that helps that. But I think they're a little bit more hip to the I could choose life this way, and really and I also think they're more experiential people.
Absolutely.
They're they care, which I think is cool. I don't care. That's why I drive a Honda. I do not care what people think of me when I'm driving. But there is a perception that some people expect to have, and that's okay. But I think also some of that younger generation is I'm going to drive this Honda and live here and then just go and do what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
sure.
Oh, okay. And you're 25.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Okay, let's talk about financing and land deals. Is there anything that you can suggest to people? When I say land deal, I'm just talking about people who are considering buying land.
Yeah.
Anything that you can suggest, even up until including maybe VA loans or military benefits?
Huge. This is huge. So you have to consider land as being essentially commercial. So the way it's financed is minimum 20% down, usually 25. Yeah, some arguments can be made where you can find a deal and do 15%. That would be something obscure. But at the end of the day, you need 20%. So when you're buying $200K in land, you got to bring 40, much like when you're buying a rental or when you're buying, a commercial building. So it takes a lot of cash, but this is a Texas veteran only thing, that they qualify for. A veteran who has a residence in Texas qualifies for that VA land board loan, which is essentially borrowing $150K with 5% down.
Wow.
And the other aspect of that is commercial finance. The amortization is usually 15, maybe 20 years. So that brings your payment, when it's a 30-year payment, yeah, you're paying a lot of interest, but your payment is reduced. So when you am 15 or 20 years, you could have quite a high payment buying land. Well, this $150K loan, they'll do 5% down, which is unheard of.
Wow.
And then they'll it 30 years, amortize over 30 years, reducing that payment. Now, of course, you're going to pay more interest, and land is financed with higher interest anyways. 9% land deals is very normal. So, anyways, that's just, I love to talk about that. That's a huge opportunity, Texas veteran, and that's a state grant. Like, that's not a nationwide thing. That is Texas specific. Texas veterans, go get some dirt.
Very, very cool.
You know?
Okay, how does your military experience influence the way that you negotiate?
I actually think I've had to get out of a little bit of a military mindset.
Sure.
Maybe my first sergeant time, because I had to be political. I was in an HHC. Half the company outranked me as officers, so that was a more political position. But I think, you can negotiate hard, but it has consequences. So I think I've had to kind of like remove a little bit of the Sergeant Ascher and maybe get over to First Sergeant Ascher, remove from that even to like negotiate better, because it is a lot of times it has to be a win-win or you can't get it done.
Right.
So where it used to be like Sergeant Ascher says, and that's what's going to happen, and I'll see to it that happens, that doesn't always work.
Right.
Now, the consistency and like I still get up at 5 and I do the same things every single day, that helps substantially. But the negotiating part, I don't know.
Okay, speaking about consistency, I know that you are huge on systems and processes, and you are one of the top 2% agents in the area. What's your secret?
So it is 100% being a self-starter. If you cannot be a self-starter, you won't perform well in this business. That's just the way it is. You can be handed things for a certain period of time for a substantial fee, but I don't think that's viable in the long term. You gotta want it. That's number one.
Right.
But outside of that, like, most salespeople are not process driven. So it's more about like getting what I call my armor around me, which is the systems that I adhere to, even though I don't like it. I do it because it makes me better. Like, salespeople do not want to be cornered. Like, that's just the way we are. To do the same thing every time, like, that is torture to the average, like, high earner sales guy.
Right.
So it's like, as soon as you get them to though understand that directly relates to their revenue, they will change their tune. But until then, like, it's like, caging a cat,
Okay, well, so give me your one system, your one nugget that is that really cool thing that is easily implementable for other agents that you are using, that you're seeing success with.
So I think the number one thing is the entire ecosystem, because I have an ecosystem that will communicate with everyone in the data system at different points and times. People that are on our website, it reminds me of things like, hey, call this person, call this person. We have a lot of transactions moving all the time. There's zero chance I could manage all of them without it. Like, I would be so far upside down. I have 3 signs in my car. Like, I don't even know where they're going unless that thing tells me. You know what I mean? Like, it's that when you're trying to scale, when you're scaling, if you just want to be, doing your own thing by one, that's different. But if you're trying to really grow the business, you got to have that ecosystem.
Okay, cool. What is one piece of information that you can give someone who is considering buying land in Texas?
The number one rule in real estate that's never been rewritten, which is crazy. Most rules have been rewritten with technology. I could say that about a lot of things outside of real estate and real estate, but location has always been a thing.
Sure.
So Colleyville has been prestigious. It's always been prestigious. It was, like those types of areas, and you can see them develop. So, like, I think if you're going to get that dirt, it's going to matter where, to really get some appreciation and be where you want to live. Like, do you want to live, the land is developed certain ways for a reason. So it'd be about getting to that before it's developed and then being the large guys. So for me, Rome was a place nobody had heard of 10 years ago. Hey, I can have my country lifestyle at an affordable price here. This is home. Raise the family. It was good for us. And then we'll just stay in it, because we can't buy the same land, do the same thing. It'd cost us double, So land, you got to get out and know that that's where you're going to settle. Location.
How do you develop trust between people you're doing business with?
So it's definitely so if it's somebody I already know, we have to think about this as like people that already know, like, and trust you. Like, was I your leader, in the military? There's a very good chance like, and trust me, I would say. Or if I had, association with you in the military, like I was very, very professional and like, a pretty hard charger. So I think we probably had a pretty good interaction. So that once we've had that, then it's really about like, this is what I can do. And this is a process that it works. And my experience kind of speaks for that. So if it's not, then you really have a short time. If it's not somebody you know or know, likes, and trust you, then it's more about like, how quickly can I earn the trust? Because we have a very short time window. You already are in process to do something, and my choice will be very soon. Right. And so, here's all the experience I have. Commonality is a huge thing. A lot of times I do meet people who are military families or related. That makes a good relation, a relatable topic.
So let's talk about the American dream.
Yes.
That's huge. Tell me about the TV show. Tell me about why you had gotten accepted, and just tell me about that process.
Well, so I don't really know. I have a feeling, Tom Ferry's the number one real estate coach in the country, has been for a while. I've been under his program for years, and there are some pretty heavy hitters in the Tom Ferry ecosystem that have the show. So Shannon Gillette's one of them. And she's a heavy hitter over in Arizona. So I feel, since Tom Ferry lives in Dallas, I feel when they said they're going to bring the show to Dallas, they're like, all right, give me access to your coaching clients. I'm very sure Craig and Tom hooked that up. You know what I mean? So, anyway, so I got an invite. Problem was I was actually in New York for a wedding when they did the first run, and I was on them. I was like, hey, I like doing things that put me outside of my comfort zone. Right. This was one of them. Hey, let's interview for a TV show you know nothing about. And so they did a rescreen, and I got pulled into it, and this was a screening for different cities. So I was the only Dallas person. So I have a feeling they got their 5, dropped 1, picked me up as a result. That's just my optics. But at the end of the day, it's a really cool opportunity, and I want to like show off cool stuff. I'm a food guy, veteran, entrepreneur. Like, it's too easy to show off stuff here.
Absolutely.
So
Very
like,
cool.
I think it's cool.
Very cool. So where does it air? How does that all?
So it's a good question. I'm on a shoot cycle of 60 days. So I just shot in the first week of June. That airs mid-July. And then my second episode has to be shot by August 1st. So it's like every 60 days you need to shoot an episode. And I have pretty free reign of what I want to do.
Cool.
There are there are guidelines I do adhere to, obviously. It's a family show. People are interested in lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle show. Right. So what they don't want, and rightfully so, is like, hey, I'm Jake Ascher, top 1%. Here's all my listings. Right. That's not cool, nor is that interesting. So it's really about, like, I'm going to show off the stockyards. And a place that I like to go, take the wife. We like to, eat. So I'm going to show off a hotel, an art gallery, a kitchen, one of our favorite restaurants. So I think that's cool, and that's fun for me,
Very
so
cool.
I think we can make that. And, I do take it seriously. I want it to be interesting. I want people to be interested. So, I've hired a script writer and like a
Nice.
camera guy to like make sure that we capture this appropriately. Cause I don't want to show up and be like, just make up stuff. Like this needs to be interesting.
Are you going to let that get to your head?
So I honestly that is one of the first things I thought of because I feel I'm a pretty grounded person and like that is not something I ever want to portray. So like that is where I don't want to go. And that was again one of the first things because who was that? Some person that I mentioned it to kind of on the deal was like, ooh, TV show guy. And I was like, yep, I am not going to be that guy. So that's a good question because it was a very quick thought. Like this can quickly, like you watch people change.
Sure.
People change. I do not want that to happen.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
good consideration.
Okay, so we are about to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So last question, give me the one takeaway for anybody who might be considering joining the military.
Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. The greatest threat to the United States is the United States itself. So like we don't have enough fit individuals to service the Army for a prolonged period of time. Like we've seen it in the Special Forces. I'm not an SF guy, but luckily I've been around them for some time. And like, Tim Kennedy's not shy about it. Like they can't fill teams. Like of the conventional Army, they can't get people without lowering their standards. They don't want to do that. Conventional Army is going to be the same way. We're either going to lower the standards because people aren't fit. So what are you going to do? Gobble up all the athletes? Like it's going to be tough. I think the Army or the military in general has a huge challenge on their hands. But I do think too, it's set me up for some major success in my career. And like you don't really realize until maybe after you're part of a small group, you know? And
Absolutely.
that has, I think, positive things that come out of that in the future, but there's very clear sacrifices. And that is not to be like, brushed off.
Sure, absolutely. Awesome. This has been super fun. Thanks a lot. I appreciate
Yeah, man, that was fun. We'll do it again.
Now,
Wrist Rocket Challenge.
yeah, we're going to go for the Wrist Rocket Challenge. We're both going to get 7 shots. The first 2 are the 0 out. And the next 5 are, that's what our score is going to be.
Got it.
It's you against me. The loser gives $50 to the charity of whoever the winner picks.
Deal.
All right. So wrist rocket, you hold sideways.
Oh.
You hold sideways, kind of like bow and arrow, right?
Okay.
You hold sideways, and you obviously want to get the shot in the center.
Okay.
So, but you're going to pull this back just like a bow and arrow and hold it against your cheek. And then just very gently, you let your thumb go. So this is where the zeroing makes a difference, right?
Gotcha.
So you can kind of look at what your sight is, and then you let go with your thumb. Right?
Sight picture.
Obviously, you hold on to this.
Sweet.
Oh, very cool.
Okay.
Oh, that was
To the
way back.
left. Okay.
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 So we are using 3/8 steel BBs.
I think the release is everything, just like a bow.
Ooh,
Was that low left?
missed the
I
mark.
can't tell. I got the first one. We got to come back from that.
So, ooh, there you go.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, this is number 3.
Number 3. The ace. Okay, now I'm starting to figure it out. Oh, close. I figured out the release.
Oh my gosh. Is that it? That was
Yep.
all of them. Okay, so let's count your score. So you got 5 plus, I'll give you 8 plus 9 plus 8.
All right, so Tim doesn't have a tall order to beat, but nonetheless, he's got 2 0 shots.
Very good, very good. Okay.
Let's see.
I got to beat 25. Is that your score?
30.
30.
Got to be 30.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh man. So
Where'd
what
that
you
go?
don't know is Tim like comes out here every night and shoots 50 shots, but he won't tell you that.
I'm just as surprised as you are.
Oh, it's looking good. You're looking
Ooh.
good.
See, I think what the secret is, once you figure out that sweet spot, you use the top of this guy for your vertical.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And but the variable is when you twist it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to gauge. Okay,
Yeah,
here we
it's
go.
got to be perfectly sideways. Oh, that's bullseye. Nice.
Nice.
Guess who's
All
getting
right.
a wrist rocket? I'll be back.
Here we go.
Oh, that's a good shot too.
Nice.
Oh man, let's count them up.
Oh.
Tim, big winner.
Nice. All right, man. That was
Hey, good. $50 to charity. That's
All
what
right.
it's all about.
Peace out, y'all.